go once again as we get into it. This is Wednesday. This is the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Power Media, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and we got some hosts that's pretty cool. Let me introduce them to you. We got AKA Little Kim, Burn It Down, Kim Brown. And we got Erica Keynes, AKA Ricky Ryan. And we got Kamal K. Franklin, AKA Mr. Megaphone.
I like it.
Oops, wrong button.
I like
What's
that beat,
good?
though. I like that beat.
I didn't. What was that?
Oh,
Rockin' Robin.
Oh, wow.
that was Rockin' Robin?
Yeah, that was
J5
Rockin'
Rockin' Robin?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Wow. Same on you, Kim.
That wasn't the J5 best record. Not even close. Nigga, that's not even top 50 J5. Look at you.
What?
Come on.
But it's
Man,
cute.
that
It was
got
cute.
a bop right there.
Yeah, but it's
Come on.
not top 50 J5, though.
It gets you on the dance floor. Stop playing.
Yeah, at the 5th grade dance. Let's put on some of that
With
throne.
the sock hop?
right.
The sock hour.
Right.
Taking y'all back. What you know about a sock hop, Ricky?
I'm not that young.
I don't even know what a sock hop
Are
is.
you over
What is it?
30?
Huh?
Are you over
Yeah,
30?
I'm 37.
Thought you was
No.
20 something.
I had you at, I had you at like 28, 29. You had the
Wow.
youthful 28,
Those
29.
were good years. Those were good years.
Damn, Ricky.
Okay.
I've been
Fooling
mistook for being
people.
10 years younger and forever. Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Got you out here. It's knocking on 30, and you're knocking on 40.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
Kamal's
Kamal's
memories is in black and white, so
That is partially true, of course. That is partially true. I can't say much about that. Some of my favorite sitcoms were in black and white.
right. Oh my
Adam's
goodness.
Family.
Adam's Family. I'm trying to remember if I caught Gilligan's Island on reruns or not.
Gilligan's was in color.
It
Yeah,
started off in
I
black
don't-
and white.
Did
It
it?
started off in black and white. Yeah.
Damn.
It did. It did. No, it did.
Whoa.
Leave It to Beaver. That was
I remember
black
Leave
and
It to
white.
Beaver in black and white. Yeah.
I wasn't around for Leave It to Beaver.
I used to
Nobody
watch
was,
those
man.
shows. I only watched those shows on Nick at Night when I was younger. So like I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched.
I Dream of
Jack
Jeannie.
Carter.
Yes.
Yeah. Three's Company.
Boop, boop,
Oh
boop,
man,
boop.
Well, that
Jack
I
was the
saw.
man. Ooh,
They're all dead
Jack
now.
was bad.
They all dead.
Yeah.
Jack Ritter is
I think they're all dead now. Yeah.
John Ritter.
John and
John Ritter.
Suzanne
Well,
Summer just
She
died.
just died. Yeah.
I don't know about that other chick. What was her name? The one
Joyce
that nobody
DeWitt.
cared about.
Joyce
on
DeWitt.
Three's Company.
He just
Joyce
Joyce
DeWitt.
DeWitt.
You actually remember her name?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you had a
Steered.
crush,
It's
huh?
steered. It's steered.
He had a
You the
crush.
Pat Benatar. She was giving you the,
She was.
skinny short white woman with the short black hair.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And I always, of the white women, the brunettes were better, than the
Yeah, that's why I
blondes.
love
Like
Rhoda.
Yeah. Rhoda,
But yeah.
Gilligan's Island. It was like
Rhoda
Marianne.
had the outfit.
Marianne.
Rhoda had the fits.
Yeah, I was just like, get out the way so Suzanne Summers can come through.
Out the way. Wow.
What's up, Kim? Where you been?
What you mean? I just wasn't here yesterday. I tell you guys, y'all gonna think I'm weird, but y'all think I'm weird anyway, so whatever. So anyway, shut up. So I woke up yesterday on time. I woke up on time to do the morning show, and about 30 minutes after I got up, I started to have like really bad abdominal pains, but only on one side of my lower stomach. And I was reminded that yesterday was Jackie's surgery, and I was wondering whether or not I was having sympathy pains for Jackie. Like I was in pain. Like I had to hit the J. Like weed saved me yesterday. Like I don't take pills and shit. So I had to roll a J and hit that cannabis for me to be functional. Like it was wow. And I said, oh, what's going on?
I like your methodology. You should also try some ginger ale.
Thank you, ear doctor.
You got more
Hey.
advice? I
Yeah.
heard your
Yeah,
advice
me
didn't
too.
go over too well yesterday.
Oh, here.
What happened?
I wasn't here.
Bring it up
It
old
did
shit.
not. It
Hearing
did
everything.
not.
Hearing everything.
Chat, what happened yesterday? My mama hit me up talking about ear doctor and Jared was in a they had it. What did mama say? In the I can't remember the word she used, but
I think you
Small
said an
disagreement.
exchange.
It
An
was an
exchange.
I like
That's
that.
what
Yeah,
she
it's an
said.
exchange.
She said, well, I don't, did you watch the morning show? I said, not yet. She said, Ear Doctor and Jared had an exchange.
Boy, did they.
Ricky said for 40 minutes. It didn't feel like
40
that
minutes.
long. God damn.
What was y'all talking about? You said the N word. Did we have an EYL?
But he did the other.
Like,
He
Ear
said
Doctor
the V
said he
word.
could heal himself.
He said
And
the
then
V
it
word.
spiraled from there.
What, vegan? Virgin?
No.
No,
What?
vaccine.
Oh.
Well, Ear Doctor said he can heal himself because
shit.
he solved the tooth issue.
Oh shit! You can hear yourself from smallpox. Talk to me about it. Let me hear that. I need to know what that strategy.
I'm not going back down that wormhole.
Good. That's
Listen,
fine. That's fine. We don't need to do that.
Each
what? I
one
think
do
you
what
should
you
put a
do.
presentation together, though.
Oh,
I think
yeah?
if you had time to respond, then
Uh-huh.
you would, yeah. I think you
Would
should
you
do a
allow
full
me to present it to BAP?
I mean,
What does I mean? I mean it's a yes or
I
no.
was thinking for your own channel.
She don't make those
don't bring
decisions by herself.
I don't.
She got to take it to the
Wow.
board. She got to take
Thank
it to the
you.
board.
Yeah.
Goodness. Each one do what you
Thank
got to
God
do
for
to
the
get
board.
better.
How is your tooth doing, Ear Doctor? Is it better?
It's great. It's not even an issue anymore.
He healed himself. I told you.
Yeah.
To.
By doing what? What did you
Well,
do?
I
'Cause I got a
thought- I
little
didn't-
steak.
I didn't know you were serious, Ricky. I thought you
No,
were just
So
saying.
he was serious.
Oh, okay.
I was so serious.
So
What did
the
you
tooth
do?
is still
What
in
did
your
you do?
mouth, but it just
Yeah.
doesn't hurt no more.
I fasted. I put I drank green tea. I put some clove in the tea, and yeah, that's pretty much it. My body just heals itself
That
after
shit
I
is
take
just
care of
rotten
it.
inside. It's just rotten inside.
I heard about the clothes, though.
Yeah.
Ear Doctor, so a tooth, I think I would handle a little bit different. But there was a point in time in my younger years where I did not have health insurance, but I had contracted strep throat, right? And I couldn't go to the fucking doctor. I ain't having no health insurance. But I also worked at a job that didn't give me sick time off. So I still had to go to work. Like my higher ups knew that I had strep throat and they still wanted me to come to work, right? So anyway, long story short, what I started doing was drinking garlic water. I would have the whole garlic clove, let it marinate in the glass of water overnight. But I started doing all the shit that you talk about. And the shit worked. Like it worked. Like, yes, I did not need antibiotics to get over strep throat.
And honey helps soothe the throat.
Strep throat is a monster though.
I mean, traditional medicine, like I was saying in the chat yesterday, like in places like Nicaragua, right? They would have outside of the hospital, they have gardens where they grow these herbs and things like that. So they involve traditional medicine, but they still incorporate Western medicine. I think that's necessary. I think in certain conditions to use both and not throw it all away, because I am not an anarchist. I appreciate my antibiotics and I would like my penicillin. So those mechanisms of the state I am okay with.
You could do a nice little mix of stuff. It's just like, don't throw away one and, throw away the baby in the bathwater. That's what they say.
That's right. Well, congratulations for healing thyself, Ear Doctor. That's quite an accomplishment.
There's also a book by Queen of Food called Heal Thyself. So
Correct.
I'm sure I'll go pick that up.
No, not that I picked it up to read it, but
I know you don't.
I put that.
Anyway.
I put that to the side to reach for the other book I was going for.
Anyway, I got to get out of here and go teach some more health education to the youth and them. So
he's leaving Kamau in charge.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kamau's he's been here for like
what I said when I
almost.
Oh, what? I got to do the news thing too, son.
I mean, the little news segment button. Yeah.
Where's that under? Is that under the banners or the brand too?
Yeah,
under brand.
right there.
All right.
Got
Kim,
it,
did you
man.
send me any story? Wait a minute. Don't go yet. Don't.
I'm not. I'm going. I'm doing a break.
Wait a minute. No, wait.
Well, break. Come out.
Did you send me your stuff too in the private chat, Kim? You got any
Kim
stories?
Brown? No, I didn't. I my stories will come to you via email, my good brother.
Email. Okay.
Erica would drop her stories in the private chat, I believe.
I got Erica. Me and Erica were on time. We came early, like we always do, at like 7:50. We started producing the show like always. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of popped on.
Wow, the first time I ever seen Kamau here before 8.
Honestly,
I thought he made a mistake.
Right. He's clearly not home, right? He's out.
Oh my goodness. I didn't mean to look in the chat, but I just seen where it said Ear Doctor.
Nobody even know who Freedom Power is.
Any comment that's complimentary, he throws it up about himself.
Right. From the
one that happens per day.
Who knew?
When your cousin says something nice about you, then you like pop it on the screen.
Hey, I mean, my eyes just be wondering. Who knows? All right, so we got everything straight. We good? We good to go to break now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I guess.
All right,
so.
cool. All right, y'all. We got to take our first break right here on the remix.
Wait. One more question.
But it gets worse.
Nope. One more question. No, but you're gonna come back after the break. This break.
Yeah, real quick, and then I'm out.
Then you're gonna be out.
Yes.
All right.
I'll even hit the news segment button. How about that?
Yes.
I would appreciate if you did.
All right, no problem. All right, here, the Remix Morning Show. All right. What's good? Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ed Doctor, and since you just stepping in here, let me let y'all know. This show right here is one of the best morning shows on the planet, in case you didn't know that already. Just read the notes. It says it. All right, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and also go to patreon.com, become a member over there, and you can see some more footage that you will not see here. All right, let's get right here to it. So who are we going to talk about today? We always, we like to give our love, and I didn't even get it pulled up. I'm so busy yapping with these people. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a sister that came through and changed the game. Who am I talking about? Let's give you a little bit of her. Oh, yeah, y'all hear that in the background. We talking about Etta James. Etta James. All right, let me put you down on Etta James real quick. Her real name is James Seta. You know her dad had to be named James. All right, James Seta Hawkins. All right, also known as Etta James. She's a singer. She did gospel music, blues, jazz. She did rock and roll, soul, R&B. She was the queen of giving you all that, hitting every genre like blah, 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 blah. Her career started in 1954. She had hits like At Last, as you can hear, Something's Got a Hold on Me, and I'd Rather Go Blind. Excuse me. She had a bunch of problems back in her past. We're talking about heroin addiction. We're talking about physical abuse, incarceration. But she made her comeback in the 80s with an album called 7 Year Itch. Now, the crazy thing is she didn't really know her dad, even though I made a joke about James Etta, but it was thought that her dad might be Minnesota Fats. Minnesota got around, you know what I'm saying? He did more with that pool stick than other people. So, boom. So she did that. Thought her pops might have been Minnesota Fats, but she got into the music at an early age and started, getting professional vocal training. Like I said, she got into it, moved out to LA with her mom after being with some foster parents, and she got into the singing hard. Wound up working with different artists. You talk about Little Richard. She was on his tour. A bunch of different people. She got on Chess Records and blew up and did her thing. She got Grammys. She got a bunch of different albums. We're talking about she got at least 30 albums. So you need to go check out on her real quick because she got 30 albums you should go listen to. She's also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let me put. She won 6 Grammy Awards, 17 Blues Music Awards, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993, Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999, and Blues Hall of Fame in 2001. I mean, she's got it all. She did it all. Man, if that heroin ain't came through, we would have seen a whole lot more. But thanks for Etta James. All right, with that said, let's go back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do. All right. All right, at last.
Etta James. I think most notably remembered for dissing Beyonce. Etta James said on her way. Oh,
yeah.
Did she?
What she said?
She said
she don't want her singing her music, basically.
Girl, she said, you look at, you ain't no real singing light skin. Let me show you a singing light skin real quick. She said, let me show you a real singing light skin real quick. Etta James.
Yeah, Beyonce sang At Last for the Obamas at the inauguration, and Etta said, don't do that again.
Oh!
Yeah.
Was she hated like Aretha?
She played her in the movie and all of that.
You know, her and Aretha had a little hate. They didn't like nobody.
I wouldn't
Well, Aretha was right.
I don't know if it's hate though.
I call it
Yeah.
standards. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
don't be on that
I'm with
bullshit.
you.
They
Yeah.
said just because you light skin, I don't mean you can sing like me. Like they should have got Fantasia or somebody like that. Fantasia can sing.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
But should she sing At Last? I don't know. Fantasia and Etta.
I think she could kill any song.
She can sing. I'm not saying I've seen Fantasia live. Fantasia can sing.
But
should she sing all the songs?
Touche. Etta James, she and Sugar Pie DeSanto, they did a lot of like duets together. I love that period of Black music, Black R&B, that 50s, early 60s, where, you'd have Sam Cooke and Lou Rawls singing songs together. And then you have Etta James and Sugar Pie DeSanto singing songs together. I mean, their voices, like that raspy alto, I mean, unfuckwittable, to be perfectly honest. Like even to this day, it's unfuckwittable.
I would say the hip hop, you know how I always do. The hip hop Etta James would have to be MC Light for me as it comes in with the raspy voice.
Why though?
First of all, what is the standard for hip hop Etta James?
Like, the raspy voice.
The way I was trying to connect that dot.
I'll get around to it.
He's got to relate it to hip hop or whatever.
Yeah,
I just want to ask at my funeral, can you do my sort of unprepared eulogy? Like when you do these things, I just like it when you go like a bunch of this. So what did you say? Like was Minnesota Fats got around with that? He did more with that pool stick. I was like, what is he saying right now? What?
He did. Say
can you? Yeah, I might raise from the grave just for the jokes.
I got you.
I appreciate it. You said she did a bunch of albums. I was like, what is it? A bunch of albums?
Like 30 almost. That's a lot.
But you got to say 30. She did multiple albums. You can't go like
30.
No, but you said she did a bunch of albums.
Like
in a retrospective, you can't narrate. She did a bunch of albums. No.
Oh. What is that word again? I can't. I don't know what that means.
Oh, why don't you go?
I can do anything. I can do anything.
I know I can.
Yeah. All right. So I will check y'all
I'll work hard at it.
tomorrow.
You leaving?
Did we just not go over this?
Oh man, you meant now you leaving.
Yeah.
What time you gotta be there by?
9.
You got time. It's 8:20.
Is it middle schoolers? Oh, high schoolers. Okay. Are they respectful? Do they listen?
Oh yeah. When I step in the room, it's like kaboom. You know what I'm saying?
They don't mistake you. The security, the SRO don't be stopping you, telling you late for class.
Oh yeah, right. Not with these little gray strands I got right here.
Well, I see you got a hat on, but whatever.
Yeah. I put my wig on in the morning sometimes too. All right. So I'll catch y'all on the next go round.
Sorry. That was boring.
You're supposed to do the hit the map. Slap the map.
Don't die. Oh, snap. Good morning, gang. Welcome to the Remix Morning Show exclusively here on Black Power Media. Today is Wednesday, November 15th. Certain people in the chat know exactly what today is, but we'll get to that in a second. Thank you guys for coming out this morning to the Remix Morning Show. We got Ricky Ryan in the building, Kamal Franklin in the building, KB in the building. Ear Doctor just jetted on us, but he'll be back tomorrow. That's all well and good. You guys don't forget to come in and give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, support the channel, patreon.com/Black Power Media. You can also hit us up. It's the 15th check, Camus. Niggas get paid on Friday, yo.
I don't understand what's happening. Some people get paid today, because now things have switched up to it's like the 15th and the 31st or the 30th people get paid. So we know people got some checks. Y'all want some. The ear doctor is not going to keep a job. Let's start there. That whatever he's doing with those kids, it's not going to last because he's going to say something. Some parents going to hear about it. And then he's going to be off searching for another job, which is going to ruin all of our morning. So if y'all can put some more money in the bank, we can give the ear doctor just a little bit to keep them on. But where else y'all going to hear news associated with Black power, Black issues, Black thought, world, Black view? We do a bunch of things here on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. See, I need to give a little bit. I haven't seen one chat. So one super chat, one what? There we go. Okay. I'll move on.
Who got it started?
Somebody gave. We got DC Joe Black.
Thank you,
Just
DC
gave
Joe
up
Black.
$10 for us.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you, DC Joe Black.
DMV, stand up. Let's go.
How you know we DMV?
Because he said his name is DC Joe Black.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my
Wasn't
bad.
that some initials?
My bad.
Let Joe Black tell them people where you from, so they won't keep calling me a liar out here.
I think you're probably right. I think you are
First of all,
probably
Joe Black. Anybody Black?
Everybody named Joe Black.
Everybody DC name. That's a nickname. Black. Everybody, maybe that's universal, but
No. Well, there's a movie too with Brad Pitt. So
that is a movie with Joe. See, yeah.
So we're gonna keep on asking y'all throughout the rest of the. I think we still need some more money. I mean, I might have to sit here for a while.
Well, before I start this union.
But it's all good though, Kamal. We just getting started. The people have a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? I know our full audience has not joined us yet. Big up to everybody that's joining us from Central Time, Mountain Time, West Side Time. It's only 5 a.m. in California, Oregon, and Washington State. So they gonna come around. Come it's all good.
But already over 300 views, over 300 live viewers as we go. You know what I'm saying?
What's up. Where are you? How come you're not at home?
I'm in North Carolina.
You got put out. Is that what happened?
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Well, times to be hard up in the house sometimes.
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't been put out yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Let me shut up. Let me mind my business. Anyway, so what you doing in North Carolina?
I'm at a conference. So 2 quick things. So I had to lie to my kids because they don't like it when I travel.
Oh.
So we had to say I was doing a road trip. I was coming back, and then it was like there's bad weather, so that's why I didn't make it back. But really, I'm in North Carolina. I'll be here until tomorrow morning. So it's like I just like chill, y'all, chill. 2, it's sort of like it's not exclusively Black, but it's like a fundraising kind of conference where like you got your funders. People talking about government grants, individual grants. But then my problem becomes I got 2 or 3 quick problems with it. Everybody's too happy. It's like a lot of cheery Black folks, the cheery cultural Black folks. You know what I mean? Like some African drum beats, beautiful outfits. I hate land acknowledgements now. Can I state that? Have I stated that for the record yet? I hate land acknowledgements.
Several times I believe that you mentioned that.
Okay. And they did them how can you do a land acknowledgement right now? And Palestine is a genocide happening, and no one wants to mention Palestine. So I'm going to have to, and because there are people here from the feds. So the Biden administration, they're talking about the grants that they give out, kind of thing. So I'm going to have to do something. I came on a whim. I was invited. I was like, I don't know, that's not my area, but I'll come. I'm going to have to do something. We have to write it up on the wall somewhere or something like that. But they're doing it these full, and then you got the light-skinned Black folks like myself, and then they claiming they native. They're doing this whole native shit.
Is that happening?
Yes,
that is happening. That is happening. There's a story actually I found that the number of native people claiming their native heritage has increased like exponentially, but the number of native births has not actually gone up. It's more people claiming to be native than actual native.
No, she looks light-skinned Black. She looks like the hair. I was just like, you don't look. There's like native people in the audience chilling. They all acknowledging whatever, and I'm sitting there going like, "Girl, you ain't no native, whatever." But she got the language down. She was cool. She didn't do wardrobe changes, but she was speaking. But in my head, I'm going like, "I'm not buying it, sis. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying." And she talked. She had a whole Black like affect, whatever affect. I was like, "You Black, you light skinned. There's a white in you. If you got native, it's like 1.1%, some shit like that. Like, I don't know. Maybe somebody.
What's it to you? What's it to you specifically? Like, what difference?
What is anything to me?
I mean,
you sit there, you get to comment.
Yeah. I got a lot. That's one of the reasons to go. There's so much judgment to be passed. Always take a friend. It's a lot of kikiing that goes on. But no, I think it's interesting that's people were retort to being Native before they said that they're African. Like nobody, they don't want to be African, but they'll be Aboriginal. I think I just see in the chat. We're Aboriginal. I'm an African. But
did she even say that she's this black, that little bit like whatever? She acknowledged black folks, but she seemed to be suggesting that she was full on Native. I just like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. So it just stuck with me. So there's a lot of that.
I'm not buying a lot of things about your heritage either.
I believe Kamal's mixed.
Mixed with what though? I mean, we can mix Puerto Rican and Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? We can mix a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not convinced about your heritage either, Kamal. So there.
You do? I'll show you my heritage. You know what I'm saying? I'll show you my heritage.
No. That sounds.
I know it sounded kind of grimy. It sounded like a Dear Doctor reference. I apologize for that. When I said it, I was like, "That sounds." I don't mean to say that out loud.
No, I'm just playing with you, Camus. I know you black out here,
but
light black, but it's fine.
But still, not Native though.
Not Native.
Although my mama claimed it. My mama was darker than a fucking desk. There was like, and she claimed that she was Native, and then my sister made her do the whole 21-3. It was like a Bantu tribe. This was like 99.9% African, whatever. I was like, I don't know what's going on with you. So you gonna stop saying that or whatever? So.
She is Native African, of course. You know what I'm saying?
That's not what she meant, though.
You said Geechee Gullah. Your mama was from South Carolina.
She did claim a little Geechee Gullah at times. Mm-hmm. Just depending on what time of the year it was. There was a couple of ethnicities that might have popped up and shit like that. But I was like, you are an African woman, so.
I mean, I have glimpses of that in my family where they say that they're, what is it? They claim every island, right? Because, most of the islands, I have Panamanians in my family, I have Jamaicans in my family. So they'll name all of those things before they say that they're black. So I think that's interesting. And it's like mostly like my younger, like the nieces and nephews, because they want to be exotic. That's the word. Like these exotic seeming things that they post up on their Instagram. But they don't know nothing about it. they barely know anything about Trinidad. And we're wrapped up in that, my family, and they barely take an interest. But for the Instagram, they're all of the things.
And my last comment is I hate to go into funding things and people start talking about reparations and shit. It's like, you're here to get grants. This ain't no reparations, Negro. There's a difference between they're using it's like, I can see how the sort of the nonprofit industrial complex or all that stuff sort of filters in. Mm-hmm. People are using saying things like liberation. And again, these are close to government officials. Mm-hmm. Liberation, reparations. It's like, that's not what this is. People are here looking for checks. That's not the same kind of checks. You know what I mean? So can we have a demarcation line? Can we have a clear line on this? But very powerful speakers, I also see how people get caught up in it, because I was like, oh, like she's a good speaker. Half the shit she's saying, I don't believe in, but she's a good speaker kind of thing. Speaking of which, maybe the first story, Ricky, that you pulled up, could that be the Van clan?
Uh-oh. Yeah. We can pull that one out.
Van Jones? Kamal homeboy?
Yeah. I was joking yesterday that Van Jones is a cautionary tale of the right-wing trajectory of Maoism in the U.S. Well, I mean,
that may be true. Okay, I'll start it.
Heartbreak and the Holy Land. Let's end all of it. But I'll be honest in closing. When I think about what's happening over there, I don't feel powerful to do something about what's happening over there. What I do feel powerful is to maybe do something about what's happening here. Let's take a stand here against anti-Jewish bigotry. Let's take a stand against Muslims. Let's take a stand here against hatred.
Against
Let's
Muslims.
take a stand here against hatred of all kinds.
So he tweeted out that it was a slip. It was a mistake. He said, my speech read, let's stand against anti-Jewish bigotry here. Let's stand against anti-Muslim bigotry here. Let's stand against hate here. But the chanting crowd threw me off and I misspoke. But what were they chanting, man? What were they saying? So I think it's just very interesting. When you see the signs and things like that, let Israel finish the job and all of that, no ceasefire, death to Arabs, wipe them all out. These are the signs that were there. And they're still, because MSNBC did not do any real coverage on what happened on the 4th or November 4th, the over 300,000 people that was in DC. But for this morning, I was hearing Mika and Joe discussing it while I was getting my son ready, and they were talking about, this was a unity march and people standing. But as always with these type of rallies, you have differing opinions. So that's how they're trying to smooth over the oblivious fascism that was occurring. It's so overt, and they're trying to smooth it over because they have to report on this rally because it's a PR thing, right? That people are standing. Look at how many hundreds of people came out for Israel against these terrorists and against Hamas. So they have to report on it, but they have to, the same way they did with the start of the proxy war in Ukraine, right? Where they would show the grandmothers training with the military, but not show, they blur out the patch, the clear Nazi patch that was right there, or NPR where they would blur out Stephen Badara when they were talking to a mayor in Ukraine and he had the whole photo. So it's similar to that, where they're trying to redirect people from the clear as day fascism, the clear as day support for genocide, to just speak about this being in terms of a support for Israel, but not really talking about what the support is. So they're calling the claims of no ceasefire. It's just a differing opinion, because that's what you would expect at these type of rallies.
Yeah. So basically, they're doing a murder chant, no ceasefire, basically to kill all Palestinians, and like you said, this is a great sort of demonstration of propaganda in real time that folks can look at and study as we do our work. Because you're right, like these are government officials. You had the House Republican leader, the House Democratic leader, the Senate leader, the Democratic Senate leader, all out standing on the same stage, basically supporting Israel, agreeing with the no ceasefire chant, or themselves promoting no ceasefire and saying no ceasefire, all together wrapped around each other, all other differences put aside in order to demonstrate their solidarity with Israel. Coverage in the New York Times. There's been 40 different demonstrations all across the world. The New York Times has mentioned them in paragraph 12 of a 13-paragraph article. If they put something up at last, like for 2 hours, then it comes down. No huge coverage, no big coverage. This rally got more coverage than every Palestinian rally combined in corporate mainstream media, all live coverage, all day coverage. So it shows you the propaganda that is going on right now in real time to support the stellar colonial apartheid genocide committing nation of Israel. And it's so something that we need to see as we fight. And it just shows that the people's efforts are being effective, that they have to use this type of grandstanding propaganda in order to cover up the genocide that they're actively committing and supporting.
Locally, I got more information from the local news about the preparations for this March for Israel than I did even leading up to the 300,000 attended pro-Palestine rally that happened a couple weekends prior, of which local news only gave it 15 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe. But this, I knew that Muriel Bowser had called out the National Guard, which I thought was kind of interesting, that the National Guard came for this rally when Muriel Bowser couldn't even get the National Guard to show up on January 6th. She was calling for the National Guard. Can y'all please send the National Guard? Them niggas was like, nope. But they came for this shit though. And the news about the counter protests that were happening yesterday at the mall, at the March for Israel, were not pro-Palestinian gatherings. From what I understood, it was actually Orthodox Jews who came down
Mhm.
there and served as a counter voice to, you know, the fascism that was being chanted, you know, louded up down there on the mall. So yeah, the way that all this is being covered is very telling. It's very obvious. And there's nothing subtle about it. Like, if we as Americans, we are all meant to back Israel's actions, as our government is backing Israel's actions, and the media is going to do what they can to reinforce that message and drown out alternative perspectives.
Yeah.
The New York Post just reported, though, I think either yesterday or this morning, I just seen that 900 people on the way to DC for the rally were left stranded by bus drivers who were staging a deliberate, they call it a deliberate and malicious walkout. So they were standing in solidarity with Palestine and refused to take them anywhere. So almost 900 people were just left stuck.
Which is ridiculous. I saw that story this morning and I said, well, why didn't they get their ass on the metro? Like, they just extended the Silver Line out to Dulles Airport. Those people had an alternative. They did not have to be stuck out there. I'm sorry if they got left. Why don't y'all get y'all ass on the train? I guess y'all didn't really want to go. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, y'all didn't have to stand there all day at the airport waiting for somebody to come get you. Y'all could have hopped right on the metro. But anyway, sorry.
But we know who didn't get stuck was Van Jones. I mean, it's just, I'm just, of all the things that I kind of like privately, again, because I don't know him well by any means at this particular stage in life, but I knew Van Jones 25, 30 years ago out of law school. My wife was in their overtly communist organization that in the Bay Area was like a huge organization in the Bay Area. He started the Ella Baker Center as well as several other nonprofits. But no one can say that Van at one point expressed radical politics from a so-called revolutionary Black nationalist to a overt communist. Like, and he claimed those things. He wrote about those things. He said those things. He studied those things. To see that somebody go from that to basically the backwoods conservative political voice who's now standing up openly attending a pro-genocide rally, it's just it's an amazing walk of life. And it's all, and it may be more than this, but obviously follow the money, right? It's all about that. It's all about that money that people his early in his I guess his career, there were people who already knew and they would say it, and others would be like, no, like they don't know Van, blah blah blah. Early on, folks were saying, this dude is all about himself. He's all about whatever. And I've even like not said as much as I probably could just in terms of family relations, but I mean, like, but there's got to be a cutting off point about, like, I mean, this dude is standing at pro-genocide rallies, speaking, trying to act like he's a voice of reason, but picking where he goes and why he goes there for a particular reason and rationale.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that's not a an easy thing to maintain. But no, I think it's like I noted that earlier, you know, as a joke, but also I'm thinking, you remember when Obama wrote, I guess in his autobiography, he mentioned that he had picked up communism or talking points so he can get girls. Like, that's the type of that's who Van Jones strikes me as, like, especially the wild turnaround, right? To go from then till now, with no bit of consistency. And then I'm sure he's getting paid, but I also think that these are partially his beliefs, because of that sort of individualism that he upholds, and the for self, and, you know, he wants to have a legacy. It's clear that he wants to have some sort of legacy. That's why he's dipping his hands in criminal justice. That's why, you know, so he's all over the place. But even in his dealings with criminal justice, he appealed to the right the entire time, and made no grievances about appealing to the right, and was willing to do that, so that he can have a name in the criminal justice system, right? Or just the criminal justice movement. So yeah, I'm not at all surprised by his actions. And now he's also now on EYL, the Earn Your Leisure.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's on Earn Your Leisure giving talking points about financial literacy. So he has his hands in all kinds of pots because he wants to be Van Jones. He wants to be written down in the books as somebody who was doing all of these progressive things and all of these things to change and the nature of the U.S. because that's how he talks about himself. That's how he talks when he cried about at the election. These are the type of ideals that he has that he sort of doesn't hide in certain instances and does when it's favorable for him. But the linking with Kim Kardashian and the appealing to Trump and all of these things, appealing to the right, all of these things kind of suggest that he was long gone. And I don't necessarily think, the money probably helps, but I don't know that this is not just an ideological thing for Van at this point.
If I were to do a psychological analysis, I would say part of it is the money. And I think a lot of it is the legacy, and a lot of it is a slow creep. Because I do believe at one point, again, he at one point did an interview after, I guess, Glenn Beck sort of exposed that he was sort of this left-wing person when he was in the Obama administration, when he was already shifting away and trying to be more mainstream. And then he did some interviews, and part of his interviews, he said something similar, which is like, somebody questioned him about his past politics. He said, when you're younger and you're reading and everybody's fucking each other, ha, 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 ha. Which, again, I think for his particular comrades, who still, most of them, I think would consider themselves to be very left of center and still do organizing. And some of them, we still know. So I wonder, what their opinions are. But this guy, at least at the time, seemingly was steeped in the ideology. So it wasn't like just a passing fad. It didn't present itself as a passing fad. But again, I think there's others who are like, this guy is also about the notoriety and the attention. And there's only so much attention you're going to get being in the Bay Area, presenting yourself as a left figure. This guy is seeking national and international acclaim, to Vicky's point of view. He's seeking to be a nationally renowned figure of some kind. I don't know if that actually means money for something, or if that actually means working behind the scenes and just getting all the checks or whatever that he can gather. Remember, this is the same person who just got a couple of years ago now, $100 million from Jeff Bezos, has never announced anything that they were going to do with it or anything publicly was going to happen with it. So it leads you to believe a lot of it is going to salary in his pocket or whatever, but I don't know that for sure. So I'll say allegedly. I think this is like one of those cautionary tales of believing who someone tells you they are something or shows you there's something, and kind of believing that's who that person is, as opposed to prescribing all these feelings because this person can articulate well, or because they cry at a certain part of their speeches every day, or because they say, woe is me, the world is against me, or whatever. I had a personal fight. We had a fight about something, and he starts crying about how everybody's against him or whatever like that. And even at the time, I was just like, I don't know what you're doing right now. Like, I don't got, can you finish right now? Can you done? Can we finish? Because it was it always feels like it's some turned on emotion. Like others say not. But from my perspective, it feels like a turned on emotion that comes to it like, okay, is it time yet for me to do this? Okay, on cue. Okay, white folks are looking like they want to give me more money. Bam, let me go back to a strong finish. Bam, let me make sure they got all my contact information, my closest associates, so they can pass those checks along. Bam, when is the next speech?
So what is our response to Van Jones, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary people? Because Van Jones is a legitimized voice out here in the mainstream media on a variety of topics. What you want? Foreign policy? What you want? Environmental justice? Criminal justice? They'll go to Van Jones for any fucking thing, right? And he's on CNN. He's got this money from Bezos. That helped to legitimize him, I think, a little bit more. I don't know how widely credible Van Jones is seen as a valid figure in our community. You know what I'm saying? I don't really hear nobody quoting Van Jones. I'll be like, well, I seen Van Jones on CNN. Van Jones, I don't hear too much of that, but I'm sure there is some of that. And I'm sure people encounter that, Van Jones is being invited to speak at my university, but what should I do? Like, what is our response to a Van Jones and people like him? People that espouse views that are, you know, antithetical not only to our movement but to marginalized movements, to, you know, to the Palestinian people, right? Like Van Jones is a bad actor as far as our values are concerned. So what is our response to a Van Jones when he gets up and does this performative fascist shit, you know, for the white folks?
So a question like this recently came up in a meeting in the Mid-Atlantic, just speaking about like the influence people who have with liberal politics have in certain spaces, and how do we address that with these people. And so what I was trying to get folks to consider is, well, we all kind of have liberal tendencies in one way or the other, right? Because it's a process that we're struggling through and struggling out of. So I don't know if it's more important to attack the individual liberal to, you know, to win over the masses and have them understand that these people are bad, or the actual structure of liberalism, and to pick away at that or peel away at that consistently with the group that, you know, is in the spaces of these liberals who have all of this influence. Because I think that fares more gain from what we're able to do than the actual targeting individuals. Because we can target a van and then it'll be like 6 more vans, right? So what are we going to do? Keep targeting these individuals, or do we target the actual system that creates these individuals and clarify to people what does it mean to be a liberal, and what is liberalism, and how does that manifest itself in our everyday? And I think focusing on like the PE of it, and consistently being in those spaces where they are afflicted by this liberalism and these liberals that come in, and I think is more of a benefit. But, you know, that's something we're still working out. You know, I don't have all the answers, but I think having done that, especially in terms of how we organize around for Keith, right? At some point we realize going after Maryland is not going to win us over. Primarily because, again, these people don't just come into these spaces of power from out of nowhere. They're protected, right? So we would spend forever trying to say, look at what Maryland's doing, look at what Maryland's doing, as opposed to connecting that to the broader. And once we started to broaden out that campaign, more people got involved in the campaign. And then more people started to be aware, oh yeah, she ain't shit. Like, she really is doing some fuck shit. Like, you know, because now they're involved in the campaign, they can see it. So for me, I would say that would be the way that I think I'd go about it.
I'm a both fan. Oh, so go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to shout out the Davises since Ricky brought them up, because Marilyn Mosby was recently convicted on 2 counts of perjury, and I was just imagining how Keith and Kelly Davis were receiving that news. I'm imagining with exuberance. I would hope so. Anyway, I just wanted to mention
they're good and they're happy, and
I'm so glad
that family is so good right now.
I'm so glad to hear it. Yes.
I was going to say quickly, I'm a both fan kind of person on that. I think obviously you do call out the structures and the systems and what produces the Van Joneses and other types of liberals who get up and claim to have a progressive voice, but it really just shills for corporate capitalism and development and so forth, and U.S. hegemony and white supremacy. But I also think there are people who make good foils, who are good demonstrative models of, when this person says this is what we can look at to see who they are, what they mean. And so I think sometimes it is good to shout back at people, because sometimes people will say things or will do things that totally show you what this liberalist system or this corporate system produces. And some of these people do have wide, or big viewerships or whatever. And I think it's important to offer counter voices, because those people who get to hear only that one side, and if no one retorts anything that person says, then I think sometimes it gets to be believed more or understood as some sort of factual truth. So I think you both call out the system, and then you strategically at times, and I agree with you, don't focus on one person, because you focus on one person is almost like when people say, and again, not that I'm opposed to this kind of campaign, but they want the mayor to resign or someone to resign. Well, that's just going to get you another mayor who's going to do the same thing. Or they want a police chief to resign, but the system remains the same. But that's only going to get you someone coming in and saying and doing the same thing, but it's a fresh face and they can claim that they've done something. I understand why we target sometimes those kind of folks, because there's still this overwhelming feeling of we're not at a point of being able to tear down the system. And so therefore you have to sometimes pick out targets that seem more illegitimate at the time. But I'm a both fan person. I think there are definitely figures who represent something in the ecosphere around what it means to be a sellout, what it means to be a liberal, what it means to be a cover for white supremacy. And I think sometimes turning those folks' words against each other. I think there's a meme going around now with Hillary Clinton talking about the Ukraine, how if Russia doesn't want to be called either committing genocide or something like on the lines of committing genocide, then it should stop bombing Ukraine hospitals. And someone turned that around, obviously, about what Israel is doing currently to Palestine. So I think those things are good because they're useful in terms of showing the hypocrisy of the system itself. So yeah.
Word. Word. All right, remixers, y'all come on in here, get a video a thumbs up. Ricky Ryan in the building, Kamau Franklin in the building, Kim Brown in the building. You all are in the building. How many people are watching? I'm not even on the chat.
We got over 400 people who are watching as we speak. And again, it's always people like you just don't know. Like when I was in Boston, people were like Black Power Media.
Really?
Yeah, so people really do watch our show. They don't give enough money, but they obviously watch, enjoy, take in the content, and that's a good thing to know that we're having that kind of impact and effect. And we need to continue to broaden our base. So we appreciate everything that y'all do for us. Kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, we got a good show. Shout out to the ear doctor. He has departed us to go kick the truth to the young Black youth, and we appreciate that.
You said the truth?
The truth, yes.
What's going to happen when he goes there and starts telling them not to take vaccines? I just want to know what's the gym teacher
shut down like Will and Jada.
Okay, what's the gym teacher who's running the health class going to do at that point? I don't understand.
First
I don't think he's doing that though.
And he can't do that because if you're in school, you have to be vaccinated, right? So like that's a moot point. No?
You think the ear doctor got
the COVID one? I don't know. I mean, my son.
No. I mean, vaccinated.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, you got to have some vaccine. They won't let you public without no vaccinations, right? Like you got to be tuberculosis, measles, mumps, rubella. What else? Mm-hmm. Shit, they used to take kids out by the thousands, by the way. Like, we have such a very short memory. You can have whatever your personal objections are to vaccines, whatever. But, measles used to done up the kids by the thousands out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a very short memory. We forget how common childhood diseases would just take out kids a lot. You know what I'm saying? But, so, yeah.
So what else we got?
I have
go ahead, Eric.
I have a story on Mali. I know we've been talking. We've been talking a lot about Palestine, and then that caused a little chain reaction of what about Sudan and what about the Congo, but what about what's the ongoing stuff that's happening in the Sahel? So just wanted to talk about that because it's a big. This is big news in Mali. So Mali's army says it captured rebel stronghold of Kidal. So Mali's army said on Tuesday it had taken the northern rebel stronghold of Kidal after carrying out a raid that inflicted heavy losses on the armed insurgents. So maybe I should give a little bit of history on the Kidal region. I think I've said previously in talking about AFRICOM. So the expansion of AFRICOM really started to double over after the fall of Libya in 2011. That pushed the quote-unquote jihadist terrorists further into the west, into the Sahel region. Then you started seeing more and more AFRICOM and French forces within that region to fend off these sort of terrorists and rebels, etc. But the reverse was happening. There was up to a 500% spike in related to jihadist terrorism. So violence, rapes, maiming, etc., kidnapping. and all of that was happening. And when Mali, they had the military coup that now they have a new leadership in the last 2 years. So a lot of things have been happening. They put out France 24. They put out the French troops that ended up going into Niger. France is no longer the official primary language. These are things that the masses have been doing over the last year. Lots and lots of developments, positive developments that speak to what the masses are calling and requesting. But what they have been struggling with is the actual taking back of territories with these terrorists, because now they have removed France, they have removed the West essentially, but the terrorists themselves, that's still an issue. And we know that they are a product of Western-backed forces. So a lot of why they remained a stronghold is so long as the West remained there, then yes, you would see more terrorists. But the removing of them became a little bit of a struggle. So they have officially taken back a territory. And this has been a territory that for, I want to say about 20 years, they have been struggling to regain. It once had some sort of autonomy, and then the French took it, and then the US came in, and then the rebels took it over. But now it is officially under the new leadership of Mali. So this is a good positive thing. Also, as an aside, Burkina Faso, the leadership in Russia just signed a nuclear power deal. So there are positive developments happening in the Sahel. And I know there's been a lot of discussion around what to expect because there are military coups. I know Diallo and myself and the Jammu had gotten into a struggle behind that, where, as you can see, Diallo was wrong. Is being proven wrong consistently. But these are some things that are happening that are to the benefit of the people. The people there are still in full support of these actions. There was a video of them celebrating that this has been taken back. So these are just some of the things that are developing in the West, in the Sahel, that I think are important that people should pay attention to, because we're watching the self-defense and the resistance happening in Palestine. But we should also be watching that this is also happening in the Sahel, as we're hearing people say free Sudan and free Congo in such ways that are sort of almost paternalistic in one way, and then almost kind of like pessimistic, like these people cannot solve their own problems. But as the Sahel is showing, when we remove the West, we're very much capable of having our own solutions. So yeah, I thought this was an important story.
Interesting that with the French army there for so long, they were never able to reclaim this land. Very interesting. Yeah.
Or were the French obviously backing the insurgents, right? Whoever help me out, Ricky. Who are the insurgents again? Like, it's the Malayan people, and the insurgents are the jihadists that was pushed out from Libya in 2011. Was I following?
Well, yeah, there's a group of them in addition to the local rebels that would then join into these groups, and so I'll be saying no.
Okay. It's a lot of moving
here,
parts
at least
here,
in the article, it suggests.
Yeah, no, I think Obi's saying no to you. No, they're not jihadists.
Okay, I'm just trying to be clear.
That were being pushed, but no, they are local rebels. But what the claim from the French and obviously AFRICOM, they exist there for particular reasons, for this war against terrorism, to stop these rebel insurgents, etc. And the time that they were there, AFRICOM is 16 years this year. October made 16 years. It has just expanded. I mentioned over 500% increase for the insurgency, and rebels, locally terrorizing the area and not returning the land back to Malayans. So I think they answered your question. I don't know.
And they claim here in their article that there is a link. They often throw out the word link to Islamists who are linked to Al Qaeda and Islamic State. And they said here that they've gone on to kill in the past. They've killed like thousands of people, thousands of civilians. So, but I do agree. I think it's one of these things that as long as the Western nations, and this is happening in Syria and other parts of the world also, can claim, and and these claims, I'm not sure who these claims are for. I guess they're for the general public, to offer a rationale for why they have to have troops thousands of miles away. But as long as they're claiming there's some insurgency or force that they're fighting against as a rationale for why they've established bases there or they're helping out the government. And again, we have going a little bit back to Palestine and Middle East, you have the U.S. That has a base of operations in Syria, although it was never asked to come into the country by the government of Syria. It refuses to leave. And so now it has a stronghold. Similarly, I think we might have talked about this, so I talked about this off the air. We have in Cuba, there's a Guantanamo Bay. There's a U.S. military base right in the middle of a communist country that does not want that base there whatsoever. But the U.S., because it's so militarily powerful, just says no. It says we're not leaving. And so you have, and they give their rationales and reasons, but this is all about power grabs. And so, yeah, as long as they can claim there's an insurgency afoot, the French were trying to use that as an excuse to suggest that there is a reason for them to stay and that they're going to be there to, quote unquote, help in terms of rooting out this insurgency, which they could not root out and which the government has now apparently successfully begin to push back in a certain region.
Right. And that region was under the control of the French military through the UN. I believe that the UN had a mission similar to what we've seen in Haiti, that sort of occupation. So the longer they were there, I think in 10 years or so, and you just see the increase in terrorist actions and rebel actions. So it's been an isolated territory because of that. And then, the French army gets support from the U.S. and AFRICOM and its presence there. So this is, I would say, it's a good look because, one, again, it shows that African solutions for African problems, but also it does peel back away at what is actually happening and the ability for the masses to sort of shape their future in terms of how we understand this military coup that is now a full thriving transitional government. And also to respond to something in the chat, Diallo is consistently being proven wrong on this Sahel thing. So yes, I think it's okay to say that. We can look at the facts and say that.
So on that note, we're going to try to take a break. Why do I say try? Because the ear doctor has entrusted me with taking a break in his absence, where he's going to, tell kids not to take vaccines, not to take Western medicine, that all they got to do, they want to be healthy, is to, eat cauliflower. I don't know.
Now, what's the real miseducation of the Negro? Are you speaking miseducation of the Negro? Is the ear doctor trying to miseducate the Negro?
I think it's the ear doctor.
I don't think so.
I think so. So we're going to take a quick break. Oh, that was the wrong. This is okay. I got it now. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Okay. If we go off the air, y'all stick with us, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
This is Sunday's Radio on Black Power Media, and you're listening to the Ear Doctor.
Let's get it.
Niggas wanna touch my sleeve. Niggas wanna touch my sleeve. Niggas wanna touch my sleeve. Niggas wanna touch my sleeves, nigga please. I black that eye like peas, you better freeze in your tracks. I won't tank yellow bees on your back. I come for the honey, but the fat one sack. You want it all? I want it all like that. I stab my own arms in the back for a stack. Niggas like, damn, why you want it like that? If I'm a dog and I got the rub on the cat, attitude's cold like the north full of cats. If I do my grip a little further down the back, a little buck wildin', I like all stats. When niggas carry gats and they black blue hats. Now I'm at known for the bones and the rap. And even unknown with a friendly contract.
We got friends.
Wake up and smell that shit, motherfucking contact.
Rhymes of wood.
In a cycle and I'm throwing head crack. And in the getting giver and I'm about to take it back. Alan, baby, where you at? A runaway train that be running on your tracks. And how it's going down, yeah, it's going down. I guess my thing, and
Welcome out, y'all. Sunday's Radio. Hey.
Yo, tell her what's up with that.
We rocking out.
Yeah, that wasn't bad, right? I did a good job with that. You know what
Are
I'm
his
saying?
mixes typically that short, or is that just because he's not here?
That's because he's not here.
No.
Like, so all he did was clip a part of his own show and then give it to us to put up as like a musical interlude. What I don't appreciate, I think what he should have done is do a whole little skit thing if he's really going to be producing, so that we can have something to comment on. I mean, why is he wearing these big chains? Like, what do you think? He thinks it's 1995 or some shit like that? When he's got these big ass fake gold, and then, it was fake. That was like the fakest looking gold chain I've ever seen in my life. But
no, he going to Mexico and all that. It might be real.
Oh, true. True. He does seem to have more money in his pocket. And he just talked
I
about he
feel
got
like
a new car.
Yeah, and he don't got to pay these high prices for meat like the rest of us. So,
excellent point. Shout out to everybody. Thank you all so much. Big up to the ear doctor, man. Don't diss the ear doctor. Ear doctor, let me tell you something. Without the ear doctor, you see where this program specifically goes. Let me not speak to the platform generally. But when the ear doctor is not present, shit is off the rails. Off the rails.
Anybody got a story?
I sent you some stories.
Okay.
I sent you some stories. Remixes, thank you all so much for being here. Yep, some of y'all just might have saw me spill my coffee. Woo! Almost spilled it on the laptop, y'all. It almost got ugly around here real quick.
Ooh.
It almost got ugly. But I think we saved it.
Okay, first story.
Let's go with the YouTube story because
the FBI one.
Yes, please. Okay. Yes, please. Because I was very upset about this last week. I'm sure some of y'all recall the announcement from the Biden administration that the new FBI headquarters, with a price tag, I think, cumulatively so far on the low end of $1.5 billion, the new FBI headquarters would be relocated to Greenbelt, Maryland, from the downtown DC digs. And all the Black Miss Leadership class of Maryland was clapping and doing their praise dances and shit. Thank you, Jesus. We bringing the equity back to the county where it belongs. And me, furious about the shit. And I'm very, very upset about the shit. But apparently not just me. The whites of Northern Virginia, the congressional delegation of Northern Virginia, made up of all white people, are very upset about this election because Northern Virginia, Springfield, Virginia specifically, was the alternate location for this FBI headquarters. So, when it comes to powerful congressional whites versus upstart, uppity little blacks down here in PG County, I think we know who's going to win this battle. But just to show y'all that it is a battle, and because the white folks say that the shit is not over, it is definitely not over. So let's take a look at this piece from WUSA 9.
We have new developments in the fight for the FBI headquarters. We have been following this story for years. Well, last week, federal officials chose Greenbelt, Maryland to be the Bureau's new home. That's a neighborhood in Prince George's County, right off of the Baltimore, Washington Parkway. Here's what the new location will bring to the area. First, jobs. The new FBI headquarters is expected to bring about 2,000 jobs to the area. Secondly, we anticipate economic growth. Officials are estimating more than $4 billion in economic activity as a result of this new location. And lastly, equity. But leaders say they're not happy about the decision. In fact, they're saying it wasn't fair. And today they were able to question the woman in charge of the whole process. Adam Longo was in the room on Capitol Hill where the future of the FBI was front and center. Now, Adam, walk us through some of those conversations that happened today. Good evening.
Yeah, Simone, I've got to tell you that the biggest takeaway from all of what happened today is this. Maryland leaders, Maryland politicians say it's over. We won. There's nothing more to talk about. While politicians in Virginia, leaders on the other side of the Potomac, they don't feel that it's over. They feel like they still have another shot at this. And in a very bizarre move, at least one Virginia Republican could end up teaming up with a group of far-right Republicans to yank money away from this FBI headquarters project.
Yes.
Yeah, very steps to go. This will be investigated. This will be examined.
Northern Virginia Democratic Congressman Jerry Connolly pledging it isn't over. The Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee agrees.
We have a lot of concerns in addition to the site selection as to whether or not the FBI is deserving of a building with that price tag.
The decision last Wednesday night to award the new FBI headquarters to Greenbelt in Prince George's County was mired in controversy by Thursday morning.
I understand Virginia being a little did not win this.
FBI Director Christopher Wray sent a letter to FBI employees alleging that Nina Albert, the woman in charge of selecting Greenbelt, was biased towards Prince George's County and had a conflict of interest since she previously worked for WMATA and it owns the land in Greenbelt where the new FBI headquarters is slated to be built.
This has been a very clear process. She was vetted properly.
I hate this nigga for real, though.
Howard has not responded to our multiple requests for comment, and she now works for Mayor Bowser's administration.
I asked my general counsel to look into all of the concerns that were raised in Director Ray's letter, and they found those to be without merit.
He says we have concerns about fairness and transparency in the process and GSA's failure to adhere to its own site selection plan. So he didn't just say there were problems. He said you didn't follow your own rules. And you say that's not true?
Our general counsel found that we did follow all of the rules.
What do you say? You're the boss.
I agree that we followed all of the rules.
Everybody knows that we need a new FBI headquarters.
I don't know it.
FBI needs a new headquarters.
Absolutely not.
145 Republicans voted last week to prohibit Congress from buying the Greenbelt site. The move failed, but it is likely to be raised again.
If that facility is indeed terrible, I mean, again, why are they trying to, again, locate it in Washington, D.C.? You can get way better, cheaper land in other parts of the country, so why do they want to consolidate it?
We have common interest in looking at this particular issue. We do not have the same motivation for why.
Congressman Connolly not ruling out voting with Republicans to keep the government from buying the Greenbelt site. One of the next steps in this process. Now, I tried to speak with Administrator Carnahan after the hearing. I just wanted to ask if you could assure our folks on this side of the Potomac that the process was fair for FBI.
Absolutely.
Absolutely is what she said there. Now, as for Congressman Connolly, again, Democrat from Northern Virginia, he is going to be teaming up with the Republican chairman of the Oversight Committee, James Comer,
he is.
Kentucky, in asking for an inspector general investigation of the process that played out and ultimately landed Greenbelt with essentially the victory in landing FBI headquarters. There's one other thing that I asked Congressman Comer about, and that was he alluded to the fact that they might want to have a standalone hearing inside of the Oversight Committee to talk about specifically the FBI site selection process and some other Republican grievances with the FBI. Congressman Connolly says he supports that, and we could see that moving forward at a later date. Simone?
Well, as you touched on, Adam, at the crux of this is the issue of transparency, of fairness, and of course, this hearing today really kind of helped pull the curtain back on some of the inner workings of the politics involved. And as you touched on, it's a bit complicated. We know you'll stay on top of this.
Thank you.
So we're about to have a race war for the FBI?
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you for seeing it. Listen, y'all, I don't usually root for the whites versus blacks. I'm rooting for the whites. Okay. We need an investigation. We need an independent inspector general. I need that standalone hearing. I have questions about the process. You know what I'm saying? And look at the whites reaching across the aisle to squad up against blacks. I said, this is the most American shit ever. I said, look, the white folks going to put these uppity, upstart black Negroes in their place. And in this instance, I'm here for it. Yes, put Westmore in his place. He needs to be put in his place. Westmore, a political neophyte. Basically, Angela Alsobrooks, the Prince George's County executive, another political neophyte. Glenn Ivey, a little bit more experience on the state level, but his first time being a congressperson, serving in Congress. And you want to put these new niggas up against Jerry Conley, Tim Kaine, Mark Warner? Shit, I'm sorry. I know who has the real juice in this town, and it ain't them three uppity niggas, okay? It's them white folks. So we rooting for the white folks in this instance. I'm sorry, Black Power Media, if that is antithetical to us as a platform. But if the whites say do not put the FBI headquarters in PG counties, I'm sorry. I'm standing with the whites. I'm with the whites.
That's a mess. That's a mess. I mean, the reach across the aisle thing, though, we're seeing it in all levels of fascism. We see it with Palestine right now. Everybody coming together. So that's unsurprising. But I do think that it's funny about the wanting transparency. Like, this is the main issue is the transparency of it all, because the FBI is so much known.
Right. But let me ask you guys a question. Am I wrong? Am I denying my community economic equity benefit of $4 billion over an undetermined term of time, even though they just threw that number out there? Oh, it's going to give $4 billion over when? 50 years, 30 years? What are we talking about? But like, am I wrong? Am I denying my community? Am I rooting against my community's own economic interest by rooting against this FBI headquarters project? Put me straight.
No, you're not rooting against. Basically, we have these is any shiny new object for them is a victory. And if this shiny new object wipes out a Black community or puts the FBI right in the middle of a Black community to spy on it, to continue doing the things that the FBI has the history of doing, all they care about is like, it's a shiny new building and we got it. Yay. It's amazing to me that the white folks, like you said, like to hear out of a white Republican's mouth, the price tag of the FBI building, is it worth it? It's like, are we like in reverse world or some shit like that? I was like, I mean, I'm loving the new ethos, a part of the Republican Party, which is to go against these like the certain types of like FBI or law enforcement stuff at that when it impacts them, of course, not when it impacts us. When it impacts us, more cops the better and shit like that. But the mere fact that they say some shit like that, it's just like, okay, this is a bizarro world. Because it just doesn't translate into what I'm used to. I'm used to Democrats selling out and doing stupid shit for a price tag. And when they throw out these economic numbers, I'm like, really, like, is that anytime they build a new stadium, it's like again, any new shiny new object, they're always talking about these supposed jobs that it's creating, and usually these jobs are transferred. So it's not like the people who already work in the FBI building are not going to continue to go to that building and work there just in another county. So you're not adding new jobs. You're basically counting jobs that are being transferred from one place to another. And it doesn't do anything for the economic life engine. Black folks don't control the FBI building. They don't control the FBI, period. So there's no collective increase in revenue or resources that the larger community is to spend.
But Kamau, the government agents might pass by the Red Lobster and the McDonald's and the Burger King and maybe go eat at a Black restaurant. Maybe once a month. Maybe they will.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? Because as you were saying, like they're going to be transferred, they'll be moving in, so they're probably seeing it as like, okay, so now we have people to fill up these vacant homes that nobody could afford because they're being priced out. Yeah, it's because PG County is not even the richest county anymore, right? I think it's Charles County now.
Yeah, for Black folks, yes.
Yeah, for Black,
for Black people. And the whole of Maryland, Moco got that thing.
Oh yeah. Because they got Chevy Chase, so.
But that's
Chevy Chase is involved in this fight, I think, right?
I don't think so, because I don't even think Montgomery County was even considered as a location. Montgomery County said nope, we don't want that. So I don't know.
So it's Fairfax County in Virginia, or
yes, Fairfax is in Virginia.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, they were considering a location at Springfield, Virginia. But the concerns raised by FBI Director Wray were that there was a 3-person panel from the GSA that was supposed to vote on this. All 3 people on this panel voted for the Virginia location, but they were overridden by that bureaucrat that you saw featured in the package, Nina Albertson. She singularly overrode the whole process of the vote for the Virginia location. So that's where the issues of transparency come in. I don't care. I mean, it just sounds like white grievance, white hurt feelings. And this time I support it. I support it. Just like I support the whites who are trying to investigate the Biden crime family. We need to get to an investigation. They keep saying there's no evidence that the Bidens did any. I don't know that. Okay, we need the investigation to proceed and go forward so we can get all this information out there. Like all the shit that the white Republicans want to do to the white Democrats and the white and the Black bougie class. I'm with that shit.
Did I miss it? Have they impeached him yet in the House, or they have not yet? They're trying still. They still got the committee going. Okay,
they still got the committee going.
They still got it going.
Who called it the Biden crime family? I can't remember who it was. It was some.
That's good though.
Maybe it was Trump actually who called it. Somebody called it the Biden crime family. I said that works.
It does.
Yeah, it does. It probably was Trump. I'm not gonna. So Veterans Day, they were showing, I guess, clips of things Trump had said. Somebody made like a montage of like his quotables and things he said about veterans and people in the military and things like that as a campaign ad. And they were saying, his quote was like, "Why would I be celebrating a bunch of losers?" and things like that. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Trump is funny as shit, dog. Like, he's funny as shit.
I can't recommend enough, and I know so many people are gonna hate, but y'all, if you're on YouTube and you sometimes can catch Trump's speeches live, one of the CNN YouTube channels will carry his whole speech under there. Y'all, that shit is hilarious.
You just be saying anything.
This nigga just be talking. This nigga will say anything out his mouth. This shit is wild. Like, and I guess we should be used to it by now. We've been dealing with Trump since, on the political stage since 2015. But I'm sorry, that shit so cracks me.
But sometimes he'll just say some shit, and you're like, "Did he just say that?" I remember I remember when they were trying to. This is again on the Russians. They were trying to question him on the Russians and how the Russians, basically spy and kill other leaders in other countries. And Trump said some shit like, "Well, let's not act all innocent here. We have our own killers too." I was just like, "What?" I was like, "What?" It's like the time, and of course the media uses that to be like, "Oh, how dare he say such a?" And it's not like they do any research or like, "Oh, well, he brought up this important point," blah blah blah. It's not like that. That's just another knock against him. But the fact that he'll just say some shit like that, and you're like, "Oh, okay. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that, except for the fact that I'm glad he said that.
No, it's true. And that's how I felt about the montage, right? And especially on Veterans Day, where you're like beat in the head with all this "thank you for your service" shit. And then they have this montage, which is supposed to be like an anti-Trump sort of campaigning to see, like, look how awful this man is. And it's like, well, I don't disagree.
I love that. Trump's the villain that tells the whole plot. That's exactly right.
Anyway, it'll be an interesting year, you guys. We're a year out from the election, you guys. What is America gonna look like a year from now?
What election?
Right.
Y'all voting? You voting?
I'm voting for somebody. I mean, I'm not voting for Trump or Biden, but I will go to the polls and participate. But I'm not voting for president unless I'm writing myself in, or Ghostface Killer or somebody. You know what I mean?
Ghostface.
I don't know about Ghostface. He be hobnobbing with the man a little too much.
It's gotta be method, B. You gotta put method in. Come on now.
Wait, what's wrong with Ghostface? Who he be hobnobbing?
Didn't the man give him a street? All the rappers getting streets these days in New York. I think Remy Ma got one near Castle Hill now. So yeah.
Is RZA conservative actually, or libertarian or some shit like that?
Yeah, RZA's
RZA's different. If we can include him, that I don't know what I don't even know if I want to fully know what RZA's politics are, because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, but who knows with the whole clan, to tell you the truth.
Oh, but not Ghostface, not Dennis, not my boo boo.
They did some crypto concert because they got paid big.
Oh, that
they
album,
yeah, they flew out some
right.
Some money, y'all.
Okay.
Oh, don't they have a Zionist now on their thing too?
I think they do.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they do.
See, look, I don't know.
I'm telling you, who said it? Was it Piper Carter? Who said it? All of our favorite rappers of yesteryear. Them niggas have turned out to be hella problematic.
You don't want to look too closely to their politics. It'll just stop you. They're like, I just won't get to listen to anything anymore. I just like, put the music on. Cut the music. I don't want to read. I don't want to read anything about them. I don't want to know nothing about them. Just put the music on.
Turn it off. Kamau, I had another story in that email that I sent you.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, awesome. Because America is just brimming with good news, everybody. All this talk from our Blackness leadership about how we need to uphold and protect this democracy. It's so weird to hear that coming from Black folks specifically. It's like, we need to protect we who? Nigga, who is we? I ain't protecting shit for this fucking country. And here's a good reason why. Because
good Lord.
It has been revealed. That shit is small. Come out, read that shit. But I know what it's saying. But read
I know earlier I was
Firearms are the leading cause of death for children in the United States, but rank no higher than 5th in other industrialized nations.
Pause. Take that in for a second, everybody. Just take that in for a minute, okay? Not automobile accidents, not disease, not even, I guess, poverty. I'm sure poverty kills a lot of people. I wonder if poverty was considered as a factor in this list. But no, guns. Firearms, gun violence is the leading cause of death for children in America. And how does that compare to our so-called Western allies? Bad. That's how it compares.
Yeah, but Kim, they're still only 5th out of the 11. So that counts for something.
I guess. What's the details, Camus? Break it down.
It says, including accidental deaths, suicides, and homicides, guns killed 4,357 children ages 1 to 19 in the United States in 2020, or roughly 5.6 per 100,000 kids. In each of the peer countries, guns killed fewer children than motor vehicles, cancer, congenital diseases, and other injuries, and often behind other conditions such as heart disease. The U.S. is the only country among its peers that has seen a substantial increase in the rate of child firearm deaths in the last 2 decades, 42%. All comparatively large and wealthy countries have seen child firearm deaths fall since 2000. Each per nation average has had an average child firearm death rate of 0.5 per 100,000 children in 2000, falling 56% to 0.03 per 100,000 children in 2019.
Hold on. So other countries, other Western countries, you said 0.03
and are seeing decreases in their child death rate from firearms.
But that's 0.03 per 100,000 versus 5.6.
No, 0.3 per 100,000.
0.3 per 100,000 versus 5.6 for every 100,000 in the U.S. That is, those are staggering differences in numbers. But go ahead.
No, that's the whole story.
Yeah.
It's
in the last 20 years.
Yes.
So we've been in never-ending wars for the last 20 years, and this has increased. Because I think the conversations around gun violence, especially in particular, not only does it leave out the police, right? Because I don't even know if they charted for police killings of children, because that happens. But it doesn't even take into account war and the weapons manufacturing and how all of these weapons come right back, or they get in the hands of fascists. Like even when we talk about the proxy war in Ukraine, a lot of what we talked about is Ukraine becoming a hub, like a training hub for fascists internationally. So we see that play out in like the manifestos from the Church Christ shooter in Australia, the Buffalo shooter here, in Argentina, even when the attempt to assassinate the vice president. All these things seem to be linked. And so, which means that the weapons are traveling in all of these areas through those links. So I just think it's interesting that it's never connected. Like as these weapons manufacturers companies grow exponentially, like look at where Lord Austin comes out of the board. They literally pull the man off the board to get back into a position to monitor and maintain these wars. But as they where the weapon's going, and as they grow exponentially, there's no real conversation around how are these things linear, or how they compare, or what does one have to do with the other. Because if we're talking about the gun violence in such a compartmentalized way, like just saying like gun violence is happening in just this one instance without talking about the overall use of weapons, that the US kind of not only facilitates in wars, but propagates on TV, and the be all you can be, the sort of gun-toting American cowboy, that is the sort of propaganda around guns in this country. And that's never the conversation. It's always as if the violence is like isolated violence when it comes to the whites, or it's like the innate violence when it comes to us. Like we innately are violent people, so of course we'll kill ourselves, or there's something wrong with just that one person. And that's why there's a mass shooting, but they don't connect it to like the whole US is freaking psychotic and violent. And these things sort of trickle down.
And the violence that we propagate around the world just comes back and to revisit us time and time again. And these mainstream folks, I can't even call them necessarily conservative, but just mainstream Americans generally just wring their hands and clutch their pearls. And it's like, what are we going to do about all the violence? Well, we don't really do anything about the violence. We keep perpetuating the violence. And then we wonder why we experience so much violence here. Like, I mean, this country doesn't understand karmic energy, right? Like as much shit as we put out around the globe, we shouldn't be surprised that over 4,000 children in this country get murdered by guns every year. We shouldn't be surprised that tens of thousands of people die via drug overdoses every year. Like this is the shit that we are putting out in the world, and this shit is coming right back to get us. But it's coming to claim the kids first, right? And that's the part that I think a lot of people are oblivious to, or we have these false narratives about how much we protect children, but we don't protect children. We actually don't protect them at all. And this is proof of that.
And I'm sorry, the word congenital sort of snuck up on me, so I didn't pronounce that right. So I appreciate somebody lifting that up in the chat. But I agree with both of you. I mean, I think it's just an amazing, again, it's an amazing view of the United States to show that, as Kim pointed out, like it's not a disease, it's not heart failure, it's not a car accidents, it's not anything that you would consider to be even understood in a society as like, oh, I can see why that happens a lot, or I can see maybe there's ways to fix it. It's like, you have people dying through a gun, like, so someone pulling a trigger either purposefully or accidentally or whatever, that there's such a proliferation of guns that children's number one cause of death in this country is being shot. So that's an amazing I mean, there's various reasons, rationales, and everything else. But again, this is just an amazing statistic to have to grapple with, that there's so many guns out in the street that anybody can get their hands on. And again, because at least in my thinking, they're not currently being used for revolutionary purposes. We're talking about a plethora of guns in which people either solve problems or think they're solving problems through their use, and or leaving them in certain places at the time they may be thinking that they are putting them in safe places, but kids are acquisitive, and so they're going to go look for things and find like, oh, what's this? Mama got a gun, whatever. So it's just an amazing society we live in that is the leading cause of death for kids between the ages of 1 to 19. I just find that to be not surprising again, but one of those things that you're like, well, of course, because it is America, right? So of course it is,
yeah.
You know, it was funny, interesting, Ricky, that you made the correlation about the last 20 years the U.S. has been engaged in perpetual war. One of the local TV stations here is doing a series this week about gun violence locally, and one of the conclusions that they came to was the rise in youth gun violence over the past 20 years corresponds to the rise in the use of social media. And they were talking about social media specifically as, I think the word that they used to describe it was an accelerant for potential violence, where people will have these beefs, Twitter, Facebook, whatever the fuck, and then all of a sudden pull up equals people really pulling up, right? And shooting. I thought that was a bit of a reach to because we've had issues with gun violence that predate social media. But let me get y'all's what do y'all think about the ways that social media perhaps factor into some of these numbers when it comes particularly to youths being killed via guns?
I think if we're talking about like those mass shootings, then yeah, social media has definitely been tracked to play a role in that, how people are finding each other with these similar ideologies or these right-wing tendencies and forming groups. And social media, that we see that the FBI has been real late after the fact to say, oh yeah, we found all of these links on social media to these people. So I would say in that way. But again, I think a lot of that argument that's being made primarily around social media, one is because of the use that our demographic, our children, particularly use it, I think probably more so than other children. But I don't have the exact stats, but I would assume that they do. But a lot of that argument, I think, is again to say innately we are these violent people, and it doesn't take much, right? All it takes is like, somebody to say pull up, and then that's what it is, without ever really addressing the symptoms of violence or why these things occur, and what are the relationships that these people have, where there's no real investigation. I think everyone is trying to find someone to blame or something to blame, because it is an obscene figure to see that many children have died in the course of 20 years just from gun violence alone. So yeah, but I also wouldn't say, I think we made this point, or when you did with Cornel West and Jackie, and he was talking about the way that Africans here are viewed, and if the U.S. is doing one thing, should we be like expected to face the wrath of because we're in the U.S. and the argument you all were making was yes. And I would say, I mean, similarly here, I think the same when we look at it, because you were saying like all these things that we do to all these countries are coming back, and it's like I would say we. I'm not doing anything in particular, but I'm also acutely aware that we're also not sort of detaching ourselves completely from this American project, so much is so where we could be seen separately. So any of that violence that is circling Black, we would get affected by it. We would feel it because we are part of this project and we're not, inside the empire trying to dismantle it in any substantial way.
Really quickly, I would only add that if you did the same study the previous 20 years before they did it, you would get the same results. If you did a study 50 years ago, you would get the same results. If you did a study in the 1800s, you would get the same results, because the United States has innately been, since its settler colonial origins, a violent mass killing nation, and that has been part of its culture that it's birthed on. And so no matter when you do these statistics where they look at guns as some sort of a medal or symbol of honor or prosperity or heroism, to be lifted up, any nation or any people who have that idea about a gun, to the extent that the United States carries it to where it's in their very constitutional documents, at least they claim, or the interpretation of it, particularly recently, is that the ability to have that has more rights than women have to decide what happens with their body, right? So any society that operates through that lens is a society that is innately violent, that will always be violent. And the ability to have that amount of weapons in a general population means that you're accepting the fact that, oh yeah, we're just going to kill more of our kids than any other place in the world, and that's okay, because you have a right to have a gun. And there's nothing we're not going to do anything, and we're going to act like there's nothing we can do, because that's what the country, that's the dictates of the violent order of the country has established. And so weapons here are as common as having a pen or pencil in your pocket. So,
right. And then children have no rights in this country. So to see that obscene amount of children who have died, it really does speak to that. Because even if we're speaking about violence, to separate it from child poverty rates and education and houselessness and all these things that children rank the highest in, right? Like children are impoverished the worst, or they're in large numbers of houselessness. And so I think that all has to do with the way that children are actually not considered in this country by any means. And I think that also speaks to why you could have a government that would say no ceasefire as they're watching thousands of children in Palestine die, because this is like they're used to watching our own children die, so it doesn't even cross their mind, and all of these things are genocides.
so I want to do a story real quick on 2 days ago. The Block Cop City action took place in Atlanta. And that got some decent coverage, actually some better than others. This is what I'm showing is not necessarily one of them, but that got some decent coverage around the country. I want to give a big shout out to like our organization, Community Movement Builders. We did not endorse, to be completely honest. We were sort of like some of the folks who plant this particular action were involved in some other actions, and we're sort of like, well, we're not quite sure how well those actions went. So we're not obviously going to publicly deride, but we're not going to endorse either. But it's hard to stay away when something, again, but people did an excellent job of organizing, going around the country, talking to their folks, trying to get people to come, putting this within a certain moment of what is needed to stop Cop City from happening in terms of direct action and civil disobedience. And so somebody like me couldn't keep away, so I went to the action to see what was happening, and it ended the way we could have expected it to end, where they gathered around 500 people who came out, and the police set up a blockade at one point to stop the march in its tracks. And again, I'm down with the anarchist kids, because they were like, you know what? Just because you stand here, it don't mean we stop it all the time. And so there was a confrontation that was initiated by the police, and the police not only blocked the march and the demonstration, Some folks, and they started throwing tear gas, and
Mm.
they started throwing sound grenades.
Oh no.
One which is like, I was just like looking, and I was like, oh, that shit is coming towards us. I should move out the way, kind of thing. And so that, but as to my knowledge, there was a minimal amount of arrests made. Everybody made sure that folks got out safely. There's a bit of confusion, but possibly some people actually made it onto the site and locked down some equipment, and so all the work that day had to stop. So I wanted to give a personal shout out to all the folks who organized it, who made it happen. And it was a moment, an additional moment in the Stop Cop City movement. So I just want to show the video real quick.
Mm-hmm.
At this particular time, for whatever reason, the police decided to stop the march. And again, some people decided that they were not just going to just stop the march when the police decided to say, stop it. People understood that the police would probably deploy tear gas, and some of these folks understand the nature of the police in terms of the way they do their job, or where they go about pressing communities. So folks were, it was one of these puppet. I don't usually do puppet marches, but they had a lot of puppets and stuff like that. So there's a lot of puppets in this march. But again, folks did an excellent job of organizing. We marched from a park close by to the site of Cop City in an attempt to block it. Tortuguita's mom was there. She spoke. And she's been tremendously courageous during this time period. Tortuguita's father came and they spoke. And they both have been tremendously just brave in this moment of coming out and supporting the rallies, the marches. And so it's really just good to see and honor to march with them. And again, always positive. Like I'm always close. I'm like, oh, I like the anarchists. But then at one point, they wanted to do what are the little circle things they do? The spokeswheel councils. I'm not down for in the middle of a march doing a spokeswheel council. I just feel like what are we gonna do? We're gonna sit here as the police are over there. And so that part of me is like, this is why I can't be an anarchist. I can't do that. So anyway, other than something like that, I think folks did again a tremendous job in pulling this together, continually putting the word out and showing that folks will not just stand aside, and allowed us to be built without further protests, organizings, and actions, including civil disobedience and direct action to fight back against it.
Wow. I mean, I'm surprised that many people came out because, Killer Mike told us that it was a done deal. Like they spent $100 million on it. So what's the point? You might as well go home. So I'm glad people actually still came out and still protested against the thing. Can you give us the latest about what's happening? Because, election day is come and gone. I assume that the thing did not make it on the ballot for a referendum, but I assume that that's pending, right? We have another chance
It's
to
still
vote
being
on
held up in court. The court said it was going to make a decision in December. The city, which could have, and the city has used that as an excuse, both the city clerk's office, the city council, and the mayor's office, they've used that as an excuse to not move forward on verifying the signatures. Again, over 116,000 signatures collected. They've decided to hold that at bay, to not move at all. And so they've done nothing to make that happen. The city council on its own, again, could put a resolution on a vote they could have done that for the November ballot. They decided to not do that. They decided to hold that at bay, to create no action whatsoever. And so they have basically tried to put everything at a stalemate, or to stop any progress, any forward motion on the referendum itself. And again, they refuse to try to verify or to put it on their very own. And so again, people have switched back to said, because the referendum process, again, played a particular role at a particular time. It is not the only tactical strategy that people are using to fight back against Cop City. And a lot of the folks who were forced offenders 5-6 months ago brought forth the idea of a Black Cop City Day and went around nationally to have meetings, to talk to people about the particular action, what they wanted to try to accomplish. And that was surrounded by a week of action that just took place during that same time period, where there were other demonstrations. There were demonstrations against the Gili program, which is the Israeli police connected to the Atlanta police or Georgia police program. There were demonstrations that BAP actually led up here in Georgia against that. There were other Black marches. There was other demonstrations. There were town hall meetings again, workshops, panels, and everything in between this week of action to continue to show that there is strong protest against the building of Cop City. The city officials themselves have done everything they can to ignore and again to continue to criminalize. We also know, like as a week and a half ago, the actual indictments or the actual arraignments for the folks charged with RICO was brought down. And I would say that kind of in some ways kicked off the beginning of the week of action. So people have continued to protest even as the state, city, and county authorities attempt to criminalize this movement.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in Baltimore, we've just been sort of observing and taking notes because we're having to go through the same process of how do we organize coalitions around this, and all of that. So, you know, we've just been observing and seeing all these different tactics and things like that, and what could we actually implement that you all are doing there that makes sense for us here. But speaking of two things, I know Nefa wants to come on because Nefa has an update from Jackie.
Yes.
Also in the private chat, I sent another link. I guess it has to do with, you know, how we're dealing with Cop City here.
Ricky, I wasn't paying too much attention, just out of curiosity, if you know, who is the president of the Baltimore City Council? Did Nick Mosby retain his presidency?
I actually have to find that out. I believe so, though. I haven't heard anything different, but I got to double check.
Baltimore in the chat, let us know. We know y'all know, goddamn. Wikipedia know everything out this bitch. So
Ricky, is this the one with the Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring it up now. If anybody can send the link to Nefa.
I sent it to Nefa.
Okay. So if he pops up, then we'll bring Nefa on.
Okay.
Y'all like how I'm handling my production duties, by the way?
You're maintaining.
I'm very impressed. You're doing an outstanding job. You know.
Yeah. So on the lines of Cop City, we've been starting these town halls with the Maryland Council of Elders, along with the other organizations that are part of the alliance. So this month we are working with UJIMA, People's Progress Party. Last month we worked directly with APRP. So we are implementing, letting people know that the alliance is also organizations, not just individuals, and sort of broadening out our work that way. So on Saturday, we'll be talking about the Zone of Peace campaign that BAT launched in April, but actually making that something material and concrete that people here can actually relate to, because the Zone of Peace, I guess, is understood as something that's just for the Americas, and people don't understand, at least colonized Africans don't understand themselves as part and parcel of the Americas through the same sort of militarized policing and, you know, overt occupation and things like that. So we're talking about that in terms of community control and how we can implement community control to create a zone of peace in Baltimore. And what does that look like? So that'll be a lot of the conversations that we will be having. Again, featuring UJIMA People's Progress Party. Naldi Lumumba will be there talking about their platform on community control. And then we're also going to have some people from ACLU talk about Know Your Rights. And then obviously we're going to talk about Cop City and the potential for it to be built and what's going on in that way. Because even when you ask about Nick Mosby, I think that people really don't really understand that this is his legacy project. He has been trying to push this for the last 10 years. So even predates what you all have been doing. He's been wanting to do something similar to this. And if we looked at what he's been doing over the years as president of City Council, an average of 6,000 residents in that area have been evicted. between 2012 to 2018. He has been a part of that. He is also he's created like a bunch of policies that sort of displaces residents of West Baltimore, because the idea, when they close down the Target, the idea is to change up West Baltimore and make it, more appealing for people who want to come in from out of the city, because people are moving into Baltimore in a really serious influx of people because they're getting priced out of everywhere else, which is increasing the pricing of Baltimore. So you're seeing a lot of more affordable housing, and not conversations, and not so much low income housing conversations. Housing across the city we've been losing housing one by one. I think there's two remaining projects still. I know that they
wasn't Mosby
collapsed.
trying to bring back the dollar houses? Didn't Mosby want to bring back the dollar houses? Nick Mosby?
Yes. So he's been very busy as city councilman, and then this was the latest this proposal. So we want to make sure that we amplify this. And then we were on Coppin State last week to talk about Palestine, but then also give out information about Cop City. And the interesting thing about a university like Coppin State is that it is primarily focused around criminal justice and ROTC programs. So a lot of the students there are within those working environments and within those academies and fields. So it makes sense that they would try to put it on that campus specifically, because then they would just be able to funnel students directly into it, and build up their police force in that way. So talking to students on there who are coming out of that field or who are studying to be in that field is not the same as talking to the person who's going to be directly affected up the street, because there is, I did have a struggle with a student, and everybody was like, don't waste your time. But it was less about him and more about the two people that were like in my face listening to what I was saying, because there's a little bit of arrogance, he's a little dickhead, like telling us like, oh, y'all just wasting y'all time and all of these type of things, but the way that he held his chest out, you could tell that he's in that process to be in that field. But it's a struggle, and sometimes those are the people that you run into when you still have to give your spiel and you still have to talk to them, because he's of the mindset that he's a law-abiding citizen is what he said, right? So this stuff won't affect him. And I'm like, the state of Maryland, 54% of black men are locked up. 54%.
I'm sorry. He said he was a law-abiding
citizen. So why would the cops mess with him? That don't have nothing to do with him, Cop City, even though it's on his campus.
Does he not know? You know what?
What they do and don't know, I couldn't tell you. I'm also, I'm not.
How many innocent, unarmed black people minding their fucking business, completely adhering to the law, have been murdered by police? And this little nigga talking about I'm a law-abiding citizen. So the fuck what? So was Tamir Rice. So was a lot of people.
Right. And I think that is the logic and the reasoning. So that person is not the sole person that say some nonsense like that, or to actually believe it, and whether or not he believes it or just wanted to challenge me, because it was a little bit of that too, some ego. But that was the conversation. So 54% of the incarcerated is black men here in Maryland, 54%. The majority of them are waiting, especially Baltimore City, are just waiting for a trial. So whether or not they're law-abiding, they wasn't charged with nothing. So how do we not know that they're not law-abiding citizens? So it's to say it's that easy. It really is that easy. So if you're thinking you're going to be exempt from it because you're some sort of law-abiding citizen and it's on your campus, I mean, anything could happen.
He's more interested in being one of the cops arresting law-abiding citizens. And so that's so you can never convince somebody. What is it? You can never convince somebody of something when their job depends on it. So that's what it sounds like. So we got a few minutes left. We have a special. Yes.
Yay.
So we have a special guest waiting in the wings.
Hey.
I don't got no sound equipment, so I'm just gonna bring my man up.
Yes, bring one. Stop. You ain't gotta be fancy with it. Come on.
Not for Freeman.
Peace,
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think my connection is bad.
No,
Y'all
it
can
is.
hear me?
We can hear
I
you.
have a bad connection.
Yeah, we can hear you though.
We can hear you. We think you're a little
Oh,
delayed, I
man.
think, by several seconds.
Okay. That's all. That's the most important thing, that you can hear me.
So why don't you start and give us an update on Sister Jackie?
Maybe I should use my phone.
No. Don't
No,
talk.
no.
Yeah.
Just start talking
Yeah.
about Sister Jackie.
Yeah, this is quick. I don't have to be on. So I just talked to Jack. Oh, wait. Oh,
You're
man.
good.
You good? You good enough? But we can hear
We
and
can
see
hear
you.
you.
Just roll, baby.
Go ahead and talk. Okay. Oh, okay. It's half hard for me to understand. So I just spoke to Jacqueline. She doesn't have her phone yet, so everybody's been giving messages and whatnot. She can't get, and she'll be trying to answer them as soon as her family brings her phone and the phone number she gave out. But she's doing good. The surgery went well. She says she's just recovering. Everything went very well. It's only she's not in a lot of pain. And she just worried. The message that she gives is just extra appreciative of all of the support that everyone is giving her and has given her, and so that that she's that means a lot to her. So that's pretty much it. And that she has a hospital number. I don't know if I'm gonna give that out yet, but she's gonna have her own phone soon.
No, don't.
When they bring it to her. So people who've been texting her and calling her, she'll give her the space to reply back to you when she can. And she had given out her aunt's number, so everyone's calling, leaving messages and calling that. And her aunt is not necessarily. I spoke to her aunt too, not necessarily knowing who people are and anything, and not able to keep up with all the messages. I don't know what made me. Maybe because I did a double thing where I sent the message and text her, just because I'm a little old school. I'm like, I don't know how it is to get messages from people you don't know. But so anyway, but she called me back. So anyway, I spoke to Jacqueline. That's it. That's pretty much it. And I had the bright idea of coming on here because I was talking to her while y'all were on, and so yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
appreciate that. We love the updates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm gonna throw you off because you're delayed.
So I'm gonna let y'all get to. Oh yeah, probably. All right, y'all. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna get.
That's what's happening. What is Jackie's Venmo? Do you guys remember? I know she dropped it in the chat last week. Chat, if you remember, can you just put it? You don't have to put the link, but just put
Ilana
her.
Kai, if you know it, if y'all could put that in the chat because I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if y'all give us some money, that'll go to her paying for her kidney.
Maybe.
No, not really. I just
Paying for the kidney. I think the kidney's good. I should hope she's not still paying for it afterwards, right?
In America, I'm sure it should be paying for that kidney for the next 20 years. I'm sure there'll be ways in which she's paying for that kidney. Particularly, I think she, thanks Russia, when she lost her job at by any means necessary. That also that means that the healthcare, went a little under. So I know she had Cobra, so healthcare should have covered it, but you never know what those additional costs might be. So not to give us money, but to give money directly to her once we find her Venmo to be shared.
Yeah, we found it. Obi put it in the chat.
Thank you, Obi.
Did we have super chats? I don't remember us ever getting to them.
We had a couple. I'm not reading them. I'm not. No, I can't do all that.
Come out.
You know what I got? I got it all. I got it queued up to do the outro thing. Then if I have to leave this page and start all over again, Jesus.
Okay.
I can't even find. I don't even know how to find the super chat. How do you find the super chats? I got to go all up the stream.
I thought they. I don't know.
I don't know. Thank y'all for giving money. And I think I found one new member. Bam, Ryan.
Ryan Tenney
came a new YouTube member. We appreciate you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I do
Ryan.
feel like it was a little low today, particularly considering it's the 15th. So y'all gonna have to really do good tomorrow.
I already told you no check for me after the 15th.
There might not be a show tomorrow if we don't get some more money. Just let y'all know this is where we're at right now.
There'll definitely be a show tomorrow, everybody.
Oh, my bad.
Kamau is somebody boss. He's not the boss over here, though. Kamau, listen, I just want to tell you, I'm very proud of the work that you've been doing. Ricky, you as well. You know what I'm saying? I see Kamau more. Kamau that made the front page of the Guardian. Mr. Mega, ear doctor that named him Mr. Megaphone. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to say you out here doing real good work for a light-skinned person. We're very proud of you. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
I mean,
you're on your brother Malcolm right now, and we
do. And I gave my kidney to at the same time, so I'm running it. I'm running it, son. I'm running it.
Yo, a Gemini Brooklyn nigga, stay lying, y'all. Don't believe him. You can only believe him half the time.
I got a scar right there.
That's not Brooklyn. That's not.
I got a scar.
Oh, where are you from, Kamal? What's that? Clinton Hills? What's the name of your neighborhood?
Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy. Son.
Yeah, that's that. Yep. Yeah, I could tell.
I was listening to Jay-Z and Biggie Smalls, nigga, shit your draws. I was listening to Jay-Z and Biggie Smalls, and I realized, I said, do you understand how prolific Brooklyn rappers are? That they got people who never even touched Brooklyn, like myself, screaming out all the Brooklyn hoods. And I'm like, Fort Greene! You don't
know. And that's what y'all should be doing.
Right. Sorry.
All respect to. All respect.
No, but that's pretty impressive. That is influence. You understand? That is the definition of influence. So yeah.
That's how we do it. I got an email too. Somebody told me to go back to New York and stop causing trouble. I don't know how they got my email. It was some stray, some troll. Like, you stop causing trouble. Go back to New York. We don't want you here. I was like, oh damn. No.
Speaking of messages I sent to the Mosbys, go back to Boston.
Right? Oh my gosh. Y'all, speaking of Brooklyn niggas that's in trouble, tomorrow, can we please discuss Eric Adams? Can we please discuss Eric Adams? Because a man who used to be the police seemingly does not seem to understand that he is the focus of an investigation, that he keeps getting up here talking about, no, the police ain't talked to me. I don't even know what's going on, nigga. You the focus of the investigation. That's why the police ain't came and talked to your ass yet, because they're making a case against you. You're going to be the last person they come and talk to.
Exactly. They done took his phones. It's like,
they took the phone, the iPad. They took the iWatch.
And he like, I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah. All right. You don't know nothing. Okay.
Oh, wow.
The FBI is all over this.
Turkey.
Cop on cop crime. I'm here for it. I'm here on cop on cop crime.
Me too.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do that tomorrow. Tomorrow, everybody, on the Remix Morning Show, the Thursday edition. So please join us tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, for opportunity for us to discuss these topics and more. Oh, is it 10 o'clock? I'm just sitting here talking.
Yeah, it's time to go.
We gotta wrap it.
Boom. Let's get out of here. Thank you so much to Erica Keynes for joining us on another Wednesday. Thank you so much, Ricky Ryan. We appreciate you as always. Camus Franklin, please travel safe. Back to your home destination. You guys, we will see y'all back here tomorrow. Shout out to the ear doctor. Shout out to Jacqueline Lukman, recovering from the good kidney surgery. Big up to all of our folks, all the BPM comrades, and of course to you all, the remixers. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out the door. We will holler at y'all tomorrow for another edition of the Remix Morning Show. Doses, y'all.
Peace, Africans.
Oh, yeah. Y'all know what time it is.
Microphone in the zone of the sea of power, and him and all you pussy Got a microphone in the zone of the sea of power, and him and all you pussy black business. Because I come to fill your cups again. One of me was a youth that has to truck a drop again. People pick some pressure like a teacher to go tear shit. Roots rock reggae, still some don't understand. That's it. I sleep it, I got this thing going on, and God's taking form. What is flesh, what is born? And all of a sudden, every jumping rap is hot and starting something. Culture keep the buffering coming.
Cause I'm curing sick.
People project life, but like to say was
on it.
Just not for frontin', we're dying in these shacks.
We don't care.
I swear that I go kill them. Slavery made them rich, then they ditched us in project. Look at this godliness. Who is that? What is this? Wise intelligence, and I got the black business.
You listening to the ear doctor, okay?
Now let's get back to the show. Y'all know what time it is.
I don't think we do know what time it is.